Hey, warriors. So, something really very real is happening in the collective, to the collective, I guess. And it's not flashy, it's not loud, and it's definitely not something most people are explaining very well, in my opinion. I pulled cards for the collective, to get a better understanding of why so many people feel tired, disillusioned, emotionally sensitive, quietly just done with the noise. And what came through was honesty, really. You know, um, this reading isn't about fear. It's about healing after awakening hurt. The part no one prepares you for. Anyways, the first out was the Three of Swords. And this card matters because it kind of sets the tone. Um this tells me the collective has gone through heartbreak, betrayal, disappointment, but not just in relationships, you know, but in belief systems. Many people are realizing what they trusted didn't fully tell them the truth. You understand? And that includes, institutions, spiritual leaders, narratives that promised us peace but delivered pressure, that kind of thing. And this isn't weakness, this is disillusionment. And it hurts because it has to, you know? You can't heal what you're not seeing clearly. You understand? Um, this card says the collective isn't broken. It's waking up to a reality or to reality, without the filters. Um, Next up I had the Sun, the Queen of Wands, and the Devil. And they all came out together. That combination, is pretty huge, really. The Sun exposes the truth. The Queen of Wands, represents personal power, confidence, authenticity. And the Devil represents, attachments, uh, fear, control, dependency, false authority, that kind of thing. But here's the message, all of them say together: truth is shining a light. Um, where people gave, truth is shining a light on where people gave their power away, if you will, um, including spirituality. This is the collapse of, and I know a lot of people aren't seeing this way. I am, and the reading clearly is saying this, but it's the collapse of, fear based teachings. Um, you need to be whole, dynamics, external authority pretending to be divine guidance. The devil isn't evil here, it's unconscious attachment. You understand? And the Queen of Wands says, my power was never outside of me, I just forgot. You know, this is why so many people are pulling back from gurus and labels, spiritual performances. I talked about this yesterday. The sun doesn't destroy, it reveals. Okay. Next up was the moon. This, the moon is why things feel foggy right now, if you will. I gotta take a drink of this. Um, the emotionally sensitive people are, the emotionally sensitivity people are feeling. I guess is what I'm trying to say. Um, Anxious without a clear reason, that kind of thing. Intuitive, but not quite trusting it yet. You know what I mean? Or how to trust it yet. The moon is the nervous system card. Okay. It says, your intuition is sharpening faster than your mind can explain it. People are sensing truth before they can articulate it. Okay. And obviously that can feel uncomfortable, but this isn't regression, it's integration, plain and simple. You're learning how to live from truth instead of adrenaline. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. The next up was the Ace of Swords and the Star. Um, that's pretty much the new way forward, if you will. The energy is shifting. You know, those come out together, meaning like hope, but not a fucking naive hope. You know, um, Inspired action that feels aligned. Healing that feels gentle instead of forced. Okay, I mean, a future built from integrity, not urgency. You know, um, the Ace of Wands says a new spark is forming. The Star says, and it's rooted in healing, not ego. You know, um, this isn't about overthrowing systems. It's about outgrowing them. People aren't here to fight reality anymore. They're here to embody a different one. That's why things feel quieter. Anyways, the Page of Cups came out last. And I don't know if you want to put it into one word. Um, I guess you'd say this is the invitation, if you will. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to call it. This is the heart of the message, I guess. You know, um, the Page of Cups asks the collective to soften, be curious again, lead with sincerity instead of certainty. This is a return to emotional honesty, gentle creativity, authentic expression, not I have all the fucking answers, you know, but more like I'm open, I'm present, and I'm real, kind of thing. Um, this is awakening with a heart, not an identity, I suppose, I don't know. So here's the truth, the collective hasn't failed. It hasn't lost momentum either. I mean, I quite the opposite of, as far as I'm concerned. But it's not fallen asleep again like a lot of people are trying to say. Um, what's ending right now is false power. You know, what's beginning is embodied truth. And awakening doesn't always feel expansive. I say this in one way or another all the time. Sometimes it feels tender, you know, um, sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it feels like fucking grief, Um, but that's not because, I don't know, it's not because you're losing your way. It's because you're finding it without, you know, illusions, I suppose, and that kind of truth doesn't come with a big ass fucking scream, you know? It settles, it roots, it heals. I guess that's all I have to say. Anyways, I love you.